All right, let's jump right in and unpack today's AI news.
Sounds good to me.
We're talking summaries from Twitter, from Reddit, even Discord.
Woo!
It's a lot to cover.
Mm.
Talk about drinking from the fire hose.
Yeah, it really does feel like you're constantly trying to catch up, doesn't it?
Definitely. But, that's what makes this deep dive so fun, getting to sift through it all and find those gold nuggets and insight.
I agree. It's exciting to see what people are talking about, what's capturing their attention.
Exactly. So for anyone out there who's trying to stay ahead of the curve in AI, well, this is your cheat sheet to the future.
It's like a fast forward button on all the latest developments.
Absolutely. And, I'm already seeing some pretty heated debates bubbling up. Are we in an AI arms race? What about the ethical implications of all of this? This deep dive is going to be interesting.
I think so too. There's always something new to uncover in the world of AI.
Okay, so let's start with what everyone seems to be buzzing about. DeepSeek V3.
Ah, yes. The 600 billion parameter behemoth.
That's the one. It's making huge e-waves, especially on Reddit. Users are absolutely loving its stability and the crazy level of detail it can generate.
It's really fascinating to see those discussions unfold in real time. People are comparing it to Claude and ChatGPT, even saying it might be better.
Some are even calling it a potential game changer.
Yeah, and they might be right, especially when you look at its coding capabilities. DeepSeek V3 can generate some pretty complex code.
So is it going to replace human programmers?
Well, not so fast. There are some pretty significant deployment challenges.
Like what?
Think massive GPU clusters, not exactly something everyone has access to.
So it's like needing a supercomputer just to turn on a light bulb.
Pretty much. It really highlights the challenges of scaling these AI models. But on the other end of the spectrum, we've got something like Unsloth, which takes a completely different approach.
Unsloth. I haven't heard of that one.
It's a bit more under the radar, but it's doing some really interesting things with efficiency. Instead of just focusing on sheer size, they're using this technique called 4-bit quantization.
4-bit quantization. This is pretty technical.
It is, but in simple terms, it allows Unsloth to achieve impressive performance on much more limited hardware.
Okay, so it's like getting the power of a sports car, but with the fuel efficiency of a compact.
That's a great analogy. And it's a big deal because it makes AI more accessible to researchers, developers, even everyday users who might not have those supercomputers.
So Unsloth is all about democratizing access to AI.
Absolutely. And it's a really interesting contrast to the DeepSeek approach.
So we've got these two different philosophies emerging. Brute force computing power versus clever optimization. It makes you wonder, what's the best path forward?
Right. And here's another question that's been swirling around. Why exactly do these models get smarter as we scale them up? Is it just more computing power, or is there something more fundamental we're missing?
Like, are we just throwing more processing power at the problem without really understanding what's happening under the hood?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and it's one that's generating a lot of debate. Some people are criticizing this bigger is better mentality.
Like on Reddit, right?
Yeah.
I saw some pretty intense discussions there.
Exactly. Some are even suggesting that we might need things like nuclear energy to fuel the future of AI.
Whoa, that's a pretty extreme solution.
It shows just how much compute power we're talking about. But it also raises some really important questions about sustainability.
It's kind of like we're building these massive skyscrapers without really understanding the laws of physics. It makes you wonder if we're heading in the right direction.
I agree. It's important to step back and consider the bigger picture.
All right, well, speaking of building things, let's shift gears and talk about some of the AI tools that are changing the game for developers.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm always eager to hear about ways to work smarter, not harder.
Well, get ready to meet your new coding wingman, Aider.
Aider. That's a catchy name.
It's more than just a name, though. This tool is creating a lot of buzz for its ability to generate code, manage tasks, and even respond to voice commands.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. Tell me more.
From what I'm seeing, developers are particularly excited about its growing support for Java and the potential for integration with debugging tools. It could really streamline the development process.
Streamlining sounds good to me. And speaking of streamlining, I heard LM Studio just got a major upgrade.
Oh yeah, they've added function calling, support for vision models, even a slicker Windows installer. They're definitely stepping up their game.
I'm especially interested in that function calling API.
It makes it much easier to build custom AI applications. It aligns with that trend we've been talking about, making AI more accessible and user-friendly.
So it's like AI for the masses.
Exactly. And it's not just about making things easier, it's about empowering people to do more with AI.
Okay, hold on, because things are about to get really interesting.
Oh, what's up your sleeve?
Have you heard of this new IDE called Cursor?
Cursor. Yeah, I've seen some chatter about it. What's so special about it?
Well, it's not just about writing code. It's about understanding the intent behind the code.
The intent. That's interesting. How does it do that?
Some are saying it's using AI to actually understand what the programmer is trying to achieve, not just what they're typing.
Whoa. That sounds like a huge leap forward.
Some users are even speculating that it could be a step towards AGI, artificial general intelligence.
AGI in an IDE. That's a bold claim.
It definitely is. But you have to admit, it's exciting to see tools pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I agree. It's that kind of innovation that keeps things moving forward. But with all this talk about AI getting smarter and more powerful, we need to address the elephant in the room.
The ethical implications.
Exactly. What are the risks? What are the unintended consequences? This is a conversation we need to have.
Absolutely. And it's a conversation we're going to have right now, so buckle up.
All right, let's dive into the ethical minefield.
I'm ready if you are. Let's start with OpenAI. They always seem to be at the center of the ethical debate.
Yeah, their work is groundbreaking, but their influence has some people concerned.
I've seen some critics argue that having so much power concentrated in the hands of a few AI giants could stifle innovation.
It's like a David versus Goliath scenario, with smaller startups struggling to compete with the resources of these tech behemoths.
And then there's the whole copyright issue that's come to light with Anthropic.
Ah, yes, the Anthropic case. That could set a huge precedent for how we deal with AI-generated content and intellectual property.
Basically, the question is, can AI models be prevented from generating copyrighted material, like song lyrics?
Right, and the outcome of this case could have huge implications for musicians, artists, writers, everyone who creates original work.
So it's like the Wild West out there right now, with everyone trying to figure out the rules of the game.
Exactly. And it's not just about copyright either. Remember that news about Apple settling that Siri snooping lawsuit?
Yeah, that was a big one. What does that tell us about the potential downsides of AI?
It's a stark reminder that AI can be used for surveillance just as easily as it can be used for innovation.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Exactly. We need to make sure we're using these powerful technologies responsibly and ethically.
And it's not just about individual privacy either. There's also this growing tension around AI nationalism.
Oh, yeah. People are wary of China's AI progress, but then they celebrate when Chinese models outperform those developed in other countries.
It's like everyone wants to be the leader in AI, but nobody wants to trust anyone else with that kind of power.
It's a complex issue, and there are no easy answers. But it underscores the need for international collaboration and dialogue as we navigate this uncharted territory.
So we've covered the model wars, the latest tools, the ethical dilemmas. What's next on our agenda?
Well, we've only just scratched the surface. Next, we'll dive into some of the cutting-edge research that's shaping the future of AI.
All right, I'm ready to get technical.
Perfect, because things are about to get even more mind-bending.
Okay, so we've seen the headlines, but now I really want to get under the hood and explore some of the research that's driving these advancements.
The research is where the real magic happens. It's like peeking into the engine room of AI innovation.
Right. So what are the big breakthroughs that have the researchers buzzing? What's keeping them up late at night?
One thing that's caught my eye is this thing called PRIME.
Prime.
Yeah, it stands for Process Reinforcement through Implicit Rewards.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me. I'm not exactly a machine learning expert.
Sure, so think of it like learning a new skill, like playing the piano.
Okay, I can do that.
Instead of having a teacher constantly correcting every note you play, you just kind of practice and get a feel for what sounds good, what sounds bad.
You develop an ear for it?
Exactly. And a prime basically lets AI models learn in a similar way through implicit feedback.
So it's like learning by doing, but for AI.
Exactly. And it's proving to be incredibly effective. Researchers have found that models trained with prime can actually outperform existing models in reasoning tasks, even with less training data.
So it's not just about brute force memorization anymore. It's about actually learning to think.
That's the idea. And speaking of big steps forward, there's another development that's making waves. The MECO method.
Mako. Okay, you're going to have to fill me in on that one.
It stands for metadata conditioning, then cooldown. And it's a pretty clever technique for accelerating language model pre-training.
Okay, remind me, pre-training is like the boot camp for these AI models,
You
right?
got it. It's where they devour massive amounts of data, to learn the basics.
And that can take a lot of time and computing power.
It really can. But the MECO method significantly speeds things up.
How so?
It's all about context. The MECO method adds these source URLs to the training documents, so it's giving the model more information about where the text came from.
So it's like giving the AI a background check on the information it's reading.
That's a great way to put it. And it turns out that simple addition can lead to some pretty big improvements in training efficiency across a range of models.
So faster training means faster innovation, right?
Yep.
New models, new capabilities, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about those who are working with limited resources.
Because not everyone has access to a supercomputer, right?
Exactly. That's where LoRa techniques come in.
LoRa techniques, I'm all ears.
LoRa stands for low rank adaptation, and it's a game changer for those who want to work with these powerful AI models but don't have, a data center at their disposal.
So it's like bringing high-end AI down to earth, making it more accessible.
Precisely. It lets you fine-tune those massive models on your own hardware without sacrificing performance. It's a real democratizing force in the AI world.
So we've got Prime making AI more intuitive, MECO speeding up training, and LoRa making powerful models more accessible. It sounds like AI research is really focused on making things more efficient.
It is. And another exciting area of research that's focusing on making AI more practical is test time compute.
Test time compute, is that like giving the AI a final exam after all that training?
It's not an exam, but it does involve evaluating the model's performance. Test time compute refers to the computational resources the model uses when it's actually making predictions, not just during training.
Okay, so it's like fuel efficiency for a car.
Right.
You care about how much gas it takes to actually drive it, not just to fill up the tank.
That's a great analogy. We want AI models that are not only powerful but also efficient to run, especially as these models get more complex and demanding.
But why does it matter how much compute the model uses once it's already trained?
It matters for a couple of reasons. First, if a model needs a ton of compute to make predictions, it really limits its practical applications. It's like having a race car that can only run on a professional racetrack.
Not exactly practical for everyday driving.
Exactly. So it's about making AI more usable in the real world.
Makes sense. What's the other reason?
Sustainability. If we can reduce the compute needed during inference, we can make AI more environmentally friendly and accessible to those with limited resources.
So it's not just about building powerful AI, it's about building AI that's responsible and sustainable.
That's the goal. And research in test time compute is playing a key role in making that happen. For example, researchers at Fudan University have been digging into the intricacies of test time compute in these advanced language models. And their work highlights the importance of optimizing model architecture and leveraging techniques like multi-step reasoning and reflection patterns.
Reflection patterns. That sounds almost human-like. Is the AI actually thinking about its own thinking process?
It's a simplification, but essentially yes. These advanced models can analyze their own reasoning steps, identify potential errors, and adjust their approach to improve performance.
So they're not just crunching numbers, they're actually learning to think more effectively.
Precisely. And that's a big step toward developing AI systems that are truly intelligent.
This is all super fascinating, but I'm curious how this cutting-edge research is impacting the actual tools and products we use every day.
That's a great question. And that's something we're going to explore in our next segment. Get ready to see how these research breakthroughs are shaping the future of AI tools.
Okay, so we've covered the model wars, the latest research breakthroughs. Now let's bring it all home. How is this AI revolution actually impacting the tools we use every day?
This is where it gets really exciting. All those advancements we discussed, they're not just theoretical concepts. They're being integrated into real-world tools that are changing how we work, how we create, even how we interact with technology.
It really feels like the future is unfolding right before our eyes, app by app, feature by feature.
Exactly. And one area where we're seeing some really remarkable progress is in coding tools.
We've already touched on Aider and LM Studio. Are there any other coding wizards we should have on our radar?
Oh, absolutely. One platform that's caught my attention is Sophia. It's combining the power of AI agents with large language models to create this really interesting environment for advanced engineering workflows.
AI agents working alongside LLMs. Okay, I'm intrigued. How does that work in practice?
Well, Sophia can do more than just generate code. It can actually autonomously review pull requests, manage complex tasks, even integrate with multiple services.
So it's like having a whole team of AI assistants working behind the scenes to streamline your workflow.
That's the idea. Sophia is a great example of how AI is moving beyond just simple code generation and into the realm of intelligent automation.
Okay, so Sophia is like the ultimate coding sidekick.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who are more on the creative side? Are there any AI tools that are shaking things up in the world of art and design?
Definitely. Platforms like Stability.ai and Comfy UI are really empowering artists and designers with some incredible new creative tools.
We've all seen those mind-blowing AI-generated images. What's new and exciting in that space?
One key trend is the rise of LoRaS, those low-rank adaptations we talked about earlier. They're allowing users to actually fine-tune these existing models to create unique artistic styles.
So instead of just using a pre-trained model, you can actually customize it to match your own vision.
Exactly. Imagine being able to create artwork in the style of your favorite painter or generate images that perfectly capture a specific mood or feeling.
It's like having a personalized AI art studio at your fingertips.
It really is. But it also raises some interesting questions about originality and ownership. If anyone can generate art in any style, what does that mean for artists?
Right. What does it mean to be an artist in the age of AI? It's a big question.
It is. It's a conversation we need to have. But it's important to remember that these tools are meant to augment human creativity, not replace it.
It's about using these tools to enhance our own abilities and push the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly. And it's not just about generating images either. AI is also transforming the world of audio and speech.
I've been playing around with some of those AI voice generators, and I'm really impressed. They've come a long way from those robotic voices of the past.
The advancements in text-to-speech are incredible. And now researchers are even exploring the nuances of emotional expression in AI-generated speech.
Wait, so the AI can not only speak, but it can also convey emotions.
That's the goal. Researchers at LAIN, for instance, are doing these really interesting tests to evaluate how people perceive different emotional expressions in AI-generated speech.
So they're training the AI to sound happy, sad, angry.
It's more nuanced than that. They're analyzing those subtle cues that we use to convey emotion, and they're training AI models to replicate them.
It's mind-blowing to think about the possibilities. Imagine audiobooks, podcasts, even virtual assistants that can express emotions.
It could really change how we interact with technology, make it much more engaging and natural.
And it's not just about entertainment either. Think about the potential for education or even for assistive technologies.
Absolutely. It's incredible to see how far we've come. But with all this progress, it's also important to acknowledge the challenges. What are some of the key issues we need to address as AI continues to evolve?
Well, one that comes to mind is making sure that AI is developed and used responsibly.
I completely agree. We need to be really mindful of potential biases, make sure these systems are fair, and prioritize transparency.
Right. We don't want to create AI that just perpetuates existing inequalities or operates in a black box where nobody understands how it works.
Exactly. And we also need to consider the impact on the workforce. As AI gets more and more capable, how do we ensure that everyone benefits, that nobody's left behind?
It's like we're navigating uncharted territory here. We need to proceed with both caution and optimism.
I agree. But it's also an incredibly exciting time to be alive. The possibilities for AI are limitless, and it's up to us to shape its future in a way that benefits humanity.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners today? What should they be thinking about as they step into this rapidly evolving world of AI?
I'd say be curious, be engaged, and be prepared to adapt. AI is transforming the world at an unprecedented pace, and it's impacting every aspect of our lives.
Stay informed, stay ahead of the curve, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask questions and explore the possibilities.
And remember, the future of AI isn't predetermined. It's a future that we are all actively shaping with our choices and our actions.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a wrap on the deep dive.